Hey y'all, I thought I would share this little journal that I'm about to fill up. I'm filming this on the last day of March 2020, and I made a promise to myself for the whole month of March that I would do a little bit of art. I ended up calling it the Little Daily Art Practice, and I had 3x3 watercolor paper squares that I cut, and I just made a promise to myself that I would do something every day on one of these little 3x3 watercolor squares. So that's what I did, and I'm really happy that I completed the challenge, and I'm moving forward. I'm going to continue this in April, except I'm going to change it up a little bit, but it's still going to be a daily art practice. I really like how this habit has really transformed a lot of things in my day, not just making sure that I do something creative. It's really helped my mindset about art and stuff. I've shared some of that on Instagram, so if you were following along with my posts every month, I mean, not every month, every day for the month of March. Anyway, so I made this little journal earlier in the month. It's just an accordion style journal, super easy to make. Literally, you know, you just fold your paper back and forth like you used to make fans when you were a little kid. Did you do that? I did that all the time. And then I had some connection areas because the pieces of paper, because I just used paper I already had in my stash, and I wanted to have lots of pages because this is 31 days, so I needed 31 pages just for my each piece of little art, but I also wanted some journaling space, just a little bit, and so I ended up putting some extra pages in, and in order to make the accordion long enough, in order to do that, I had to, you know, glue together some pages. So where that seam is, the way it worked with my paper, I've decided to just insert some, I don't even know what, I've made this paper for years, I don't know what people call it, but you know, where you just glue a whole bunch of little pieces of paper onto a bigger piece of paper or on fabric. This one happens to be on paper, paper on paper. Anyway, I have two connection sites, one on this side and then one when you flip the book around. And so I don't, that's kind of, this paper is a cardstock and I don't like how it's bumpy basically. So in order to journal on this page, I'm going to mount this first and then have some journaling on a piece of paper, and then I'll glue that on there. So in order to figure all that out, I had to go through and figure out how I wanted all my, where my art was going to go, and I want it in chronological order. So that's what all these little sticky notes are, is that way I could move it around as I was thinking through like where I wanted my journaling pages to go. So as you see on the first half of the book, it only goes to, what was that, 15? Yeah, so there's 15 pieces, and then in order to get to the other half, here's the back side, and it starts over again, so 16, 17, and it goes all the way to 31. So I thought I'd just bring you along with me as I glue them in, and yeah, I hope you enjoy. So I thought I'd take you through the finished book. So you saw most of when I was placing all the little pieces of art in it. I had my camera shut off on me a few times, so I think I missed a little bit, but basically I just used a matte medium to actually I used a gel because I wanted it to be pretty strong, because the paper I'm using to watercolor on is 100% cotton, and then I was gluing it onto a really thick art paper, and so I wanted to make sure it was gonna stick good. However, I had to be careful because since it was watercolor, it will run with any kind of moisture, and I did have that. It didn't run, but it kind of bled on a few of them because I didn't, well, there's just enough moisture in there during drying, and I didn't have it set up drying upright quick enough. So nothing detrimental, like it wasn't terrible, but if you decide to do this, you may just want to do something that's more like Fabri-Tac or something, some other type of glue that's fast drying and not quite as wet. Then I used some hand spun yarn that I think I made. I was thinking about this, trying to remember. I think it's about 8 years ago is when I made this one. It's just I did a lot of experimental type spinning, and I kept all of it pretty much. And this was dyed with avocado. So, and since I used avocado dyed paper here, I really liked repeating that in the tie. And I needed something to hold this big accordion together because it literally is just floppy. So it needs something in order for it to not flop around and get damaged. So I think I showed you this already. It's just some paper, using old papers that I collaged together, and then this is some artboard that I made the cover with, and same way with this is some more collaged paper, and this gray paper is some more art paper. It's I can't remember who made it, but it's some big sheets of art paper that I think I got at Hobby Lobby, and so that's what I used to cut down to make this accordion, because I wanted something pretty sturdy, knowing that I was putting heavy watercolor paper in here. So I went ahead and journaled. I did a little bit of journaling, not very much really. In my big journal is where I journaled more about it. So it's also in chronological order, except where I messed up. And if you want to know more about each of these little pieces, I did talk about them on Instagram. So if you follow me on Instagram, and it's just my name, my handle is Phaedra Jones, and I did talk about it a little bit, like struggles I had and things like that. And I can't remember now which day it was that I realized that I had messed up, but somehow when I put these in order, I didn't put them in order. Oh well. This one was particularly, well, I shouldn't say stressful, but it was frustrating because nobody could tell that that was a hen and her 4 chicks. Seriously, my husband said, you probably can't tell either, except that I just told you, so now you can probably see it. But when I showed it to my husband, he was like, I don't know, I think that's a chick right there. Okay, that's a chick. So my goal with this was not to like create beautiful pieces of art. My goal was to sit down every day and make myself create something. And I kept it within a parameter that was doable, so I knew something small wouldn't be too overwhelming. I wanted to work in watercolor just because I hadn't been watercoloring regularly in a long time. So I wanted something that I wanted to improve my skills in somehow. And so that's what I did. Originally, I had a time frame of 30 minutes max, but like more like 20 minutes. I found within the first week that was not working for me, and it was stressing me out, and like I felt all this pressure. So I just let that go, and I just didn't time it. And so sometimes I would do it in several sessions over the day, like between pencil sketching out what I wanted to do to the final drawing, you know, could have taken me an hour or more, but I didn't necessarily do it all in one sitting, and that just took the pressure off and made it more doable for me. A lot of these had to do with whatever I was thinking about that day. Like this was from our trip to DC in February. I talked about that again on my Instagram post. This was about kindness and the effects of one person, that's me, the red dot there, and how they've, you know, through research, how they've discovered how it changes other people as well. Other things, I just love mushrooms, so I never had like a a rhyme or reason to the day. I just let the day tell me what to do, and I had no idea what I was going to do the day before, like what I was going to do the next day. Does that make sense? Like I just took it one day at a time, literally, and I stayed in the moment. I didn't think ahead, and I didn't look back, and I found that to be the most successful way for me to stay focused on my goal, which was to create art every day and make this a habit. So this is the back cover. Again, I just used some more of my same papers that I've glued together. And I figured out, I don't remember what the order was here, but it was wrong. But by the time I got here, I was back on track in chronological order. That really annoyed me. Oh, again, no perfection, Phaedra. That's what I kept telling myself all month. No perfection. Just doing it. And so one of the things I did, which I haven't done in ages, is continuous line drawing. I haven't done that since I was a little kid, and this was my first day to do it. And I just fell in love with it. I've done it quite a bit, just doodling and having fun, and then I did it for my exercise again on this day. It's just super fun. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's like the perfect warm-up exercise, because it's really great for your hand and eye coordination, and I found it really relaxing too after the initial frustration, if that makes sense. And then this one came out of a story of when I went shopping when it wasn't too long after the coronavirus things were really starting to be affected, like grocery stores and stuff, and I talked about that on my Instagram post. So some of that is inspired by my daily thing. This, nobody knew what it was. Literally nobody. I bet you don't know what it is either. Do you? Heck, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know. I mean, if I look, I don't know. The reason why I know is because I painted it. So I was trying to paint grapefruits. I know, it's terrible, right? My friend Dee said it looks like egg yolks. She's right. They do look like egg yolks. My husband said eggs as well. So that inspired me to paint eggs the next day. And these are duck eggs. That's why the yolks are so big. So bluebonnets, because we went to see bluebonnets here in Texas. It's bluebonnet season, and so we still did our social distancing, but we took a drive for the day and went out and saw beautiful bluebonnets and Indian paintbrushes, and it was just a glorious day. The weather was perfect. We had a picnic lunch at the park, and we took our two little furry girls, Penny and Gracie. It was a lot of fun. Geraniums. Again, this is another line art, continuous line art drawing. Can you tell I'm obsessed with those? They're so fun. Chocolate chip cookie, some more journaling. Anyway, again, I had no rhyme or reason. I just wanted to create a habit that I could stick with. And I did it. I completed the entire month of March doing one piece of art a day, and I did do it. Sometimes the next day I would do like the final touches because I had to wait for it to dry or something. But that only happened a couple times. Sorry, that's Gracie barking at me because I'm on my phone, she thinks. So I'm not supposed to be on my phone all the time. So anyway, that's it. That was my little monthly art challenge for myself, my little daily art practice, and I'm going to do it for April. I've already prepped for it. I still have a few more things to do, and then I'm going to do my April, and it's going to be different, but I'm going to share it with you too. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, follow me on Instagram if you're not already, because that's where I post the daily pictures about it. And then I plan on mounting it into another journal. I'm not sure what kind of journal that I'm going to make for the April challenge, but it'll be something. And you know, if this inspires you, why don't you join me for the month of April? Just do something arty every day. It doesn't have to be anything like what I'm doing. It can be something totally different. Just something that you want to work on, something that's doable, something that's inspiring, and something that you enjoy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this quick little flip through, and I hope you have an amazing day. See you later.